today I'll be showing you how to find an equation in factored form from a graph. So here I have a soup bowl, and when a photo of the soup bowl is taken from this particular angle, we can see that a parabola is formed on the Cartesian plane. We want to try and find the equation of this in factored form. So what we have to do is try and see which of the variables are already visible for us to find from the graph and just insert into this layout. These two roots of the equation are the same as the x-intercepts. So -3 and 3. The next things that we can find from the graph is a point which has corresponding y and x values. So you can pick any point here, but if I were to pick something from here or there, I'll probably end up with some kind of decimal. That's why I'm going to pick the y-intercept, 0, -2. Okay. Now I can fill them into this layout. As I've said, I can put my -3 and 3 into the spot of the roots. I can fill in the y value of my intercept. And then I've already filled in 0 for you guys, which was my x value. So now, as you can see, the only variable that we haven't yet found out is a. And for that, we can bring it to the other side of the equation and just solve for a. You can start by restating your equation and then open up the brackets, divide both sides by -9, and we'll be ending up with 2/9. So it becomes 0.22 equals a. So now we can rearrange this, just plugging in a. And remember, we're leaving out x and y as letters because this is a function, so if we want to find what y is, then we'll just be filling in x with any number on the parabola, whereas the others are going to stay constant. But what if our parabola looked the same, except it was positioned differently? So what if it shifted, for example, a little bit more to the left? Well, then our vertex, instead of being on the y-axis, would end up being, for example, -2, -2. And then our x-intercepts would also change. But that's fine. We'd repeat the same procedure. We'll just be filling in our intercepts and y and x differently, but we'd end up with the same a value. So the steepness or the width of the parabola is still the same, and that is determined by a. And our equation for this one will look a little bit more different than the last one. Instead of having, for example, 3 and -3 here, I'd have the x-intercepts that correspond with this graph instead, -5 + 1. Always remember that we're subtracting the x-intercept from the x value, and first multiply these two signs. And x -1. That will be the equation for this graph instead.